The story begins on a warm summer evening with the sun casting its last golden rays across the quiet countryside. I was sitting on my porch sipping iced tea when my phone buzzed. It was a message from my neighbor Kyrant, the kind of neighbor who never had a kind word for anyone. She had written in bold letters, "You're trespassing. Take down your shed or I'll call the law." I blinked at the message, stunned. My shed. It had been there for years, sitting quietly on the far edge of my property. I had built it myself, with my late father, back when times were simpler. Every nail, every plank, carried a memory. And now, she was claiming it was sitting on her land. The next morning, she stormed over, her heels crunching on the gravel. She pointed a finger right in my face. "Karen, that shed is on my property. You've stolen land from me." "Me, Karen. That's been my family's land for decades. That shed is mine." "Karen, we'll see about that. I have friends on the HOA and connections at City Hall. You're about to learn what happens when you mess with me." Her words cut deep. Not because I believed her, but because of the arrogance dripping from her voice. She had always acted as though her mansion, built just a few years back, made her queen of the neighborhood. That night I barely slept. Memories of my father working by my side flooded back. I could still hear him saying, "Son, this land will always be ours. Treat it with respect, and it will take care of you." Karen was threatening not just a shed, but the legacy my father left behind. 2 weeks later, an official notice arrived. Karen had filed a formal complaint with the county, claiming I had encroached on her property. My heart sank. Fighting legal battles wasn't something I had the money or energy for, but something inside me, maybe my father's spirit, whispered, "Don't back down." I decided to hire a surveyor, even though it cost me more than I could afford. And when the day came, I followed the man with his equipment, my heart pounding with every step he measured. Finally, he turned to me with a frown. "Surveyor, sir, your shed is right where it should be." "But me? But what?" "Surveyor, her mansion. It's built almost 30 feet into your land." I froze. My knees nearly buckled. Karen hadn't just accused me falsely. She was the one who had stolen my land. And now I had the proof. That evening, as the stars filled the sky, I sat on my porch again. My father's words echoed in my heart. I wasn't just defending a shed anymore. I was about to reclaim what was mine. The next day I knocked on Karen's door, holding the surveyor's report. She opened it with her usual cold stare. "Me, Karen, you need to see this." "Your mansion. It's on my land, Karen. Oh, please. Do you think anyone's going to believe you? I built this house fair and square. Me, the law will believe me." Her face darkened, but she quickly covered it with a fake smile. "Karen, you don't have the money to fight me. You're just a little man with a little shed. I'll crush you in court." Her arrogance lit a fire inside me. I knew she had money, influence, and the confidence of someone who had always gotten her way. But I had something she didn't: the truth. I filed a case with the county court. Using the surveyor's findings as evidence, it drained me financially. I sold old tools, picked up extra work fixing fences for nearby farmers, and even dipped into the small savings I'd kept for emergencies. When the first court hearing came, Karen walked in with her high-priced lawyers, dressed in suits that probably cost more than my truck. She looked at me with a smug grin, as if the outcome was already decided. But when the judge reviewed the documents, his eyebrows lifted. "Judge, Mrs. Karen, according to this report, your home is partially constructed on land that legally belongs to Mr. Thomas." Her lawyer tried to argue, throwing around words like mistake and oversight, but the evidence was too strong. Still, the judge didn't rule immediately. More hearings were scheduled, dragging the case out for months. Each time, Karen tried new tactics, claiming paperwork had been forged, that the surveyor was biased, even accusing me of harassment. It was exhausting. Nights felt longer. Days felt heavier. Sometimes I thought about giving up, selling what I had left, and moving away. But then I'd stand by my shed, running my hand across the rough wood, and remember building it with my father. That shed was more than wood and nails. It was my history. One evening, my old friend Jack stopped by. He was a retired lawyer. I poured my heart out, telling him about my struggles. He listened quietly, then leaned forward. "Jack, Tom, you can't give up. She's banking on you breaking under the pressure. But you have the law on your side. And if you want, I'll help you for free." Tears welled in my eyes. For the first time in months, I felt like I wasn't fighting alone. With Jack by my side, the case shifted. He knew the law inside and out. Each time Karen's lawyers tried to twist the facts, Jack calmly presented the truth. Karen, however, grew nastier. One morning, I found spray paint across my shed, "Thief," written in red letters. Another day, someone dumped trash on my lawn. I knew it was her, but proving it was impossible. Instead of scaring me, it only hardened my resolve. The final hearing came after nearly a year. The courtroom was packed, neighbors whispering about the drama. Some sided with Karen after all. Her mansion looked impressive, and people respected money. But others whispered that they admired me for standing my ground. The judge cleared his throat. "Judge, after reviewing all evidence, it is clear that Mr. Thomas is the rightful owner of the disputed land. Mrs. Karen, your residence is partially constructed on his property. By law, this land and the structures on it belong to him." Gasps filled the courtroom. Karen's face went pale, her mouth opening but no words coming out. I sat frozen, the weight of those words slowly sinking in. Her mansion was legally mine, Karen? This is absurd. That's my home. I paid millions for it. Judge, and you built it where you had no right to. The law is clear. You may appeal, but the ruling stands. I walked out of that courtroom in a daze. Neighbors patted me on the back, some even offering congratulations. But I didn't feel like celebrating. I thought of my father, of his words, and of how he always taught me to stand up for what's right. That night, Karen came storming over one last time. "Karen, you can't take my house. Please. My family lives there. Just let me stay. I'll pay you anything, me Karen. You've tried to take everything from me. You called me a thief. You humiliated me. And now, the truth has come out." She broke down crying, something I never thought I'd see. In the weeks that followed, the news spread like wildfire. Local man wins land dispute, mansion now his. Some people celebrated me as a hero. Others called it a lucky twist of fate. Karen eventually moved out. Watching her go, I felt a strange mix of emotions, satisfaction, yes, but also sadness. She had brought this on herself, yet losing a home is a heavy burden for anyone. The mansion stood there, tall and silent, now legally mine. Friends asked if I'd move in, sell it, or rent it out. But I didn't. Instead, I visited my little shed at the edge of the property, ran my hand along its weathered boards, and smiled. That shed still meant more to me than any mansion ever could. One evening, Jack and I sat on the porch watching the sunset. "Jack, so, Tom, what will you do now?" I looked out at the land my father had once walked. "Me, I'll keep it. Not for the mansion, but for the memory of what it took to defend it. This land isn't just property, it's a piece of my soul." Karen never apologized, but in some way I forgave her. Holding on to anger would only poison my heart. Instead, I chose peace. To this day, whenever I pass that mansion, I don't see Karen's arrogance anymore. I see the triumph of truth, the strength of standing firm, and the quiet legacy of a father who believed land was more than dirt and fence as it was family, history and honor, and that, perhaps, is the lesson I want to share. Stand for what's right, even when it's hard. Because in the end, truth has a way of shining through, no matter how much someone tries to bury it. So tell me, my friends, have you ever had to fight for something you knew was rightfully yours? What did it teach you? For more interesting and heart-touching stories, hit the subscribe button now.